What is going on, people? Today we want to go ahead and talk about this past year. Well, I guess technically it's still this year, at least for me. But let's just say this past year. You know that every year there's usually like two big updates, whether it was T5 or Astrolite or Artifacts or whatever it may be. There's usually some big updates every year. But there are some good updates and some bad updates, and it's not always the same for everybody. So there are some updates that people might prefer over others, and vice versa. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you my top three for this year. We're not gonna be including like the big updates like Artifacts, for instance, because it's kind of hard to judge considering how much money you gotta put into it. But you know, we gotta encompass everything because that is part of it as well, and you gotta keep that in mind. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you my top three updates for this year, and if you agree with it, let me know. But if you disagree with anyone, or you want to add your own or your own list, by that matter, then you can go ahead and do so in the comments, because like I mentioned, it might be different for everybody. So it'll be interesting to see if there's like a bunch of different opinions, or if there is a consensus top three update of this year. All right, so my number three, well, I guess it'll be three, but like I don't really think I have any of these in any order. I just really liked these updates for this year. My number three is monster hunting and being able to do this, because as you guys probably know, before it was ×1 or max hit. There was no in between, and it was really rough sometimes, and your monster can get easily stolen because you didn't want a max hit, but you didn't want a ×1, and it was just like you were stuck, right? But now you can go ahead and you can choose. You can go ×1, or you can go however many hits you want. So this was something that me personally, I have been asking for man, years. I'm not even kidding, years. I was like, bro, why can't I only do ×1 and like max hit? Why can't I do a ×3? Because if I'm hunting level 2s, I might not want to use 60,000 energy on a level 2, but I know I need 3 hits, so I gotta do ×1, ×1, ×1. Now you can just done. ×3, done. ×3, done. It lowers the chance of you having a monster stolen from you, and it makes it quicker. So this is number three for me. It was really freaking good. Number two, funny enough, trial by fire. Now, let me just say that overall, I do still think that trial by fire is a little like lackluster for what we were expecting. I was expecting more of an in-depth thing, and to be fair, maybe because my account is so far ahead than most, you know, this isn't really a challenge. Whereas if my account was not as far advanced or my stats weren't so high, I would actually struggle in some stages, especially the mixed stages. So of course, I gotta put that into perspective, because my account basically just sweeps through all of this with no problem, while some others like my alts can't do the same. So I understand that point, but the reason I even put trial by fire here. Hello, Mommy. You gonna come and say hi? You're usually not in the camera. That's Vidal. She's usually hiding. But anyway, the reason why trial by fire is even on this list is the rewards that you get every day. If you really think about all of these rewards adding up, you get quite a bit of tomes. Like, look at me. I have 17,000 tomes. Let me tell you that once I finish my research that used tomes, I have not bought any packs that would include any sort of like really decent amount of tomes. So although I'm pretty sure not all of these tomes are straight from this, most of them are. And so imagine as a free-to-play player being able to get 5,000, 10,000 tomes. That's going to further your research so much. And then of course, these uncommon records really add up quickly, and it helps your artifacts so much. So just these two right here are worth it in the long run. And then of course you get some extra speed ups and some guild coins, but like overall, if you are not letting this go to waste and you're always doing your turns every day, their rewards will add up and those tomes will come in handy. So make sure that you're doing your trial by fire, especially if you're not done with your research. But even if you are, you know that there's more research coming. And shall I remind you that the last research was what? 70 something thousand tomes, 80 something thousand tomes, whatever it was. You're gonna need all of them, okay? So yeah. Now my number one update for this year, I think pretty much everybody would agree with me, although there is a big negative to this update. It has to be. It has to be the Sanctuary changes. Now, it's not a new update per se, because we had Sanctuary, but more so the actual changes that they did to the Sanctuary. So now, remember, before when you got zeroed, the only thing you would ever recover is your infirmaries, and a lot of times it was just T2. So it wasn't really much. You would lose all your T4, your T5, whatever it was that you had other than that, 800k T2. You had to start all over. Now, you can get about 60% of your troops back, plus your infirmaries, plus the divine resurrection. Like, you can get sometimes up to like 70% of your troops back after you get zeroed. And let me tell you what effect this has, right? Before, when you zeroed a player, if they didn't have the means to rebuild, or especially rebuild right away, that just kills players' morales, and it causes a lot of players to leave the game, to just outright quit the game. So with this, what IGG, I mean, I say IGG, but I don't really know, but I'm thinking the reason they did this is because not only do they get to keep more players playing, because getting zeroed isn't as punishing as before. It does still suck because you're losing, 30 to 40% of your troops, but because you get some of those troops back, you're more likely to stay around. And not only that, the more players you get to stick around, guess what? You zeroed that player 2 months ago, well, it's my turn to zero them now, etc., etc. It just provides more targets for more players, and more targets, more players makes a better game, a more livelier game, and so it's kind of like a cycle, right? But I do have to say, the negative effect to the Sanctuary is now, when you zero a player, you don't really feel that accomplished, right? Especially if it's like an enemy guild that you're warring with, etc., because you zero them, and then within a couple of days, they're right back up to near where they were before. So it's like, well, damn, that wasn't really that accomplishing. Like, zeroing a player now is not that big of an accomplishment, which kind of sucks, because zeroing a player is like half the game, really. For most of the game, because most of the game can't really play with forts and all these fort elites, etc. So the incentive to zero a player is almost gone, because at the end of the day, you're really only taking out 30% of their troops. So it's like, some of that magic is kind of gone. And lest we forget, of course, it cannot go without being mentioned, the bots. Finding a target with bots and then zeroing them, but really knowing that you're not really doing that much damage, not like it used to be, it makes the game, I don't know what the word is, but like, if you guys have been playing for years, and before all this bot nonsense where the bot finds everything for you, it was so much healthier, like actually bookmarking targets and checking them, seeing it, if their shield was down, checking for helps, checking to see if their resources sent, etc., has changed or gathered, etc. It was a healthier game because you actually needed to play the game. Now with bots, you don't really have to play the game. You just listen to a ping and that's it. You just check it. And unfortunately, with the bot stuff, if you're in any sort of decent sized family, you're kind of relegated to using it. If not, you will never get any targets. You will always be the last one there. And as you guys know, if you're the last one there, well, what are you exactly going to do? A lot of times you're just going to miss out. And especially if you're going up against families that are using these bots, it just came down to, if you're not using it, then you will never be able to compete in any capacity. So there were some families that for a while were against trying to use it, And there are some out there that still say that they don't use it. But let's be honest. Every half decent sized family uses it. And even if a person says they don't use it, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. But somebody in their family does. And that's what it's become. So when you get the Sanctuary healing most of the troops you zeroed, and you have a bot doing all the looking for you and everything for you, it becomes like a game that you don't really have to play, and that's the biggest downside of it all. And while I see the big upside to this, less players quitting, more targets over time, etc., it does come with this big drawback. So there it is. These are my top 3 for the year. I do still think the Sanctuary would be the best update. The bot just makes it a little worse, just because if it wasn't for that and finding targets legitimately was still around, this would have been a lot better. But, you know, it is what it is. Maybe this was a way of IGG combating the bot, you know? Maybe this was their answer. Like, okay, the bot found you and got you zeroed, but don't worry, you're getting most of your troops back. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my list? And if you don't, what don't you agree with? And if you have your own list, I would love for you guys to share it. Share what exactly your list would be. And I'm kind of curious. Also, one last question here before we go. What exactly are you looking for IGG and Lords Mobile to add in 2023? Right? Don't come to me with no T6 or none of that crap, please. Like stuff that would be good for the game. Okay. Anyway, yeah, appreciate you guys for coming through. Make sure that you check out the 1 million gem giveaway winner video that I probably posted about the same time as this one. So go check if you are one of the winners. And yeah, hopefully you guys have been having a great holidays and happy New Year's to all of you. And until later, bye.